Good evening, everyone. This is Sam Orm, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to our third installment of the I Control My Life campaign. I'm certainly excited for those of you who are logged on just to get a chance to share some things with you this evening, and hopefully it'll impact your life in a powerful way. We're utilizing this platform not just as information, but also as a training platform. So you'll notice on your control panel there's a question box. At any point, if you have any questions about any of the information that I'm talking about, feel free to type those into the question box, and I will address those questions periodically throughout the information. Also, for those of you who are logged on to your computers, if you do me a favor and click the raise your hand icon, it's a little hand on the left side of your control panel. That will acknowledge to me that you can hear my voice as well as see my screen. I can get everybody to click your raise your hand button. It's a little hand icon on your control panel. All right. Thank you so much. Look like everybody's connected. Again, I appreciate everybody logging on. And as I mentioned to you, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the third installment of the I Control My Life campaign. As I mentioned, my name is Sam Orman. You know, just a few weeks ago, matter of fact, a few months ago, it dawned upon me that so many people have so many challenges in their lives. You know, we know what was going on with the, the political campaign, what was going on in politics. You look at what's been going on economically for many, many years. We look at what's been going on socially around the world. It seemed to me that so many things had really gotten out of our control that we became just statistics in the grand scheme of whatever was going on. And for me personally, you know, it really wasn't a good feeling. I'm a control freak, if you will, and I really like to have some type of direction in terms of where my life is going to go, and I want to be able to control that direction. And just in consultation with people and just talking to various people, it dawned upon me that I'm not the only person, I'm sure, that wants to control their life. So I wanted to put together a platform where the average person who had an above average desire to succeed, they would understand what controlling your life is all about. And I came up with about 10 different topics that I feel are instrumental in terms of people controlling their lives. Tonight I'm going to talk about living stress-free through peace and love. There are various definitions of what peace and love mean, but I'm going to kind of focus in and hone in on the stress-free aspect of that. Keeping in mind, though, that when you're talking about controlling your life, there are several aspects of or components of controlling your life that are very important. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go through over a 6-week period all 10 of these components. We have already touched on showing up every day and bringing your best. We talked about Mr. Doucette did this past Wednesday an incredible job on what it means to be a servant. And this evening I'm going to talk about live with peace and love. Then we have 7 other additional components of controlling your life that we're going to touch on over the next 5 weeks. Keeping God first, owning your own business, doing business with people who do business with you, living with authenticity, a healthy lifestyle, each one teach one, and also controlling your debt. So we're going to talk about those things over the next several weeks. But again, I want everybody to focus in on where you are and what would you like to see your life going into 2017. A year from now, what would you like to have happen in your life in order for you to say your 2017 was the best year of your life? And as a matter of fact, even though 2017 may be the best year of your life, it should only be the foundation to set up the rest of your life in a grandiose fashion. These things are very, very critical. We're taking this very seriously. We're going to talk about some things that, are pertinent to our business or our lifestyle or our focus. But right now, this I Control My Life campaign is not about me. It's about every single person within the sound of my voice. I'm encouraging everyone, whenever you see or you are invited to participate with the I Control My Life campaign in any capacity, I encourage you to take advantage of it simply because it's with you in mind that it was created to put you in the best possible position to succeed. And I think if we all take that mindset, really kind of take the blinders off, kind of bring down that wall in terms of, skepticism or any of those things that we may have. Just really focus in on how can I control my life. I think you'll see a value in these 10 things in terms of turning your life around or even making it better than it has been in the past. So let me just kind of focus on, again, tonight's topic. And I want to talk about living with peace and love. And as I mentioned, there are several different definitions of what peace means to individuals and what love means to individuals. For the sake of this particular conversation and for the sake of controlling your life, what I'm talking about in terms of peace and love is something that's internal within you. We know that we can have peace with war. We're not talking about that kind of peace. I'm talking about a type of internal peace that will allow you to become a greater you, okay? And just giving you a definition, a broad definition of what peace is and what love is. Basically, peace is freedom from disturbance, and it's quiet and tranquility. It's basically a calm, if you will. And again, we're talking about from a human or physical aspect. You want to have that calm within your person, within your being. What is love? Love is an intense feeling of deep affection or fondness. Love is a form of passion. We talked about this last Sunday, I think it was, when we talked about, identifying your purpose, and the driving force behind your purpose is your passion. Well, love is a form of passion. Fondness is a form of passion. When you think about this, good or bad now, just, again, taking the blinders off and really thinking with an open mind. There are so many different religions around the world. There are so many different ideologies around the world. There are so many different viewpoints on God and spirituality around the world. But the one common denominator with all of those religions and spiritualities and all these other things, the one common denominator from every person's perspective is love. It is their love of God. Now, we know, and I'm not getting into the political aspect of it, but we know there are a lot of false gods and false prophets and all this stuff out there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about from their perspective. They're looking at it from the love of whatever it is that they're following, right? So that's a passion. Well, again, what I'm talking to you about tonight in terms of peace and love, I want us to be able to develop a certain sense of calmness within ourselves, a certain sense of love of self, a certain sense of, I said it last week, it's okay to eat the big piece of chicken, that type of love for yourself. That's where I want us to focus tonight. And I think if we do that, we'll understand the bigger picture, which is, peace and love around the world. There are 4 aspects of peace and love that I'm going to kind of touch on as I go through this presentation. And by the way, if you have anything to write with, please jot this information down. I don't expect you to write everything verbatim because I try to keep it short, so I speak fairly quickly. But again, you want to, just kind of make some bullet points so you can go back and study some of the things that we're talking about. And also, I encourage you to get with the person who invited you on this call. And you guys have, some study sessions in terms of what it is that I'm sharing. What does peace and love mean? What did it mean last week when Mr. Doucette talked about being a servant? What did it mean a week ago when I talked about showing up and bringing your best? Talk about these things, discuss these things, because I want you to internalize them. We're not just having a conversation just to have something to do. I really have a goal for all of you in 2017, and it starts with you becoming a better you. But the 4 aspects of peace and love, first of all, physical, we understand what that means. And again, I'm talking about your physical being when I'm talking about peace and love. Obviously having a certain mental state of mind or peace and calmness with your mindset. Emotional aspect of peace and love, and also spiritual. So these 4 components actually make up the 4 aspects, as I call them, of peace and love. And that goes around the world. It crosses borders around the world. If we can understand these 4 aspects of peace and love, then we can all live at a certain level of productivity and a stress-free lifestyle. But we have to understand what does that mean and how does that affect us. Here's an analogy that I wanted to put together that hopefully it will kind of bring some clarity to what I'm talking about when I say, peace of mind or peace of body, peace and love. This is just an analogy that I think for me personally, it really brings it to light, and I hope you see it the same way. So just look at this. As I have written here, if you're looking on your screen, think of it like this. The sky is always clear, always, right? Now, sometimes clouds come in, and they actually cover the sky. And then other times, the wind can actually blow the clouds away. Think about the constant, though. The constant here is the fact that the sky always remains clear. Okay, the sky doesn't change. What changes is the fact that clouds come in and they kind of muddy it up, and it appears as if the sky is not clear. Now, proof of that is for any of you who've ever ridden on an airplane, you know that regardless of how cloudy it is, if you fly up high enough, it becomes clear, right? Well, your mind is very, very similar. A clear mind, a mind that is at peace, it's always present. It's always calm, right? A clear mind is always calm. What happens is, bad thoughts come in and it actually obscures that peace of a clear mind. Okay, it kind of obscures it. Just like the clouds obscure a clear sky, bad thoughts obscure a peace of mind. And to me, that's powerful. If you understand this, peace principles can blow those thoughts away, just like the wind can blow the clouds away. You have to understand that. So what do I mean? Under all of these thoughts, these bad thoughts, these bad ideas, the stress, all of these things, peace remains. It's there. We just have to do the things that we need to do to blow those clouds away so that we can have clarity of mind. It's very, very simple, but it's very, very important. Because when you have a clarity of mind, then it starts to affect the quality of your life in so many other different aspects. You have clarity of mind, clarity of thought, so you make better decisions. You have clarity of mind or clarity of thought, so you get to sleep better at night. You have clarity of mind and clarity of thought because you're at peace. You just make better decisions on your day-to-day life. Ultimately, what we're looking for as human beings, when we talk about, having a sound mind and body, again, if you're looking at your screen, if you look at the two top bullet points where I talk about the mindset, what is the mindset? Truth, beauty, goodness, love. There's so many adjectives that we could use to describe a proper mindset that's at peace. If you have truth, if you have goodness, if you have, love and beauty and, feeling of blessing and sexy and all of these things, then that translates to a certain amount of inner satisfaction. That inner satisfaction becomes happiness to you. That's when you start to have a quality of life. You think about that. Same thing with your body. If you're looking at the lower bullet points in blue, when you're talking about your body, proper diet, when we talk about food, shelter, certain types of resources that make your life better, whether it's a car versus walking. That's a resource that makes your body better. Certain level of comfort. You can have a pair of shoes, or you can have a comfortable pair of shoes. Both are shoes, but there's a different level of comfort with that physically brings a certain level of quality to your life that we're talking about. So if you look how food and shelter, resources and comfort and all those things transition to a physical well-being, when you put those things together, again, you're talking about the end result of you being a happy, or I like to call it a whole person, W-H-O-L-E, a whole person. This is when people talk about mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul, all of these things working together in unison. This is what makes a person go through life and have a high quality of life. So many times people get confused with people who have money, and money doesn't buy you happiness. Money, matter of fact, money doesn't get you all of these things that we're talking about today in terms of peace and love and a certain mindset and physical stability and happiness. Money doesn't bring all those things to you. What money is just a resource that will better prepare you to actually go after the things that we're talking about today. So it'll help in terms of a resource, but quite frankly, you can live the same level of happiness and inner satisfaction with or without money. It's all about mental, physical, and spiritual coordination, coming to that sweet spot that is your happy life. Okay? Taking it a step further, there are some things that become a basis for conflict within your life. It kind of deteriorates the whole notion of having peace and love and being able to look at everybody else as if they have a sign on their chest saying, "Make me feel special." This is the basis of that conflict is selfishness. There are a lot of people who deal in selfishness. If you're looking at your screen, what selfishness is, from my perspective, is living only for oneself. Hence the name selfishness. You have adjectives to describe this particular type of being, whether it's lust or exploitation or prejudice or, arrogance, vengeance, or my favorite one is greed. And I say favorite not in a positive light. I'm talking about, one of my pet peeves is greed. America, for all of its greatness, is the greediest country on the planet. There's never enough. And what tends to happen is people start to become selfish because they're greedy. People start to hoard. I mentioned this word last week, because they're greedy. There's never enough. What could you do? Well, let me put it on myself. I can take $100 million and do anything that I could do with $1 billion because of the knowledge, the mindset. I can make the same things happen. So why do I need to have this selfish type of persona in order to step on people and do certain things in order to get whatever it is that I want by suppressing somebody else's happiness just to get to $1 billion that's meaningless anyway in the grand scheme of things. Now, my objective absolutely is to be a billionaire, but at the end of the day, it's just to give it away. It's to give it away. My ultimate goal is empowerment of people amongst beyond the football team, beyond all the other tangible things we talked about. My purpose on earth is the empowerment of people, and I will become a billionaire in order to give it away. That's a lack of selfishness. But this particular country, this particular society, in fact, this particular environment or period of time in general, it's based on greed and deception. We talked a little bit last week about the whole politics of things, whether you're for Clinton, whether you're for Trump, whether you're for Obama or anybody. All of them lie till they get to where they need to get to, and then they do whatever it is that, the lesser of the evils. But they all lie. The thing is the degree with which they lie. Some of them lie more than the other, but they all lie. They all do what they need to do. You talk about left and right and center, left and center. All of this is a basis of selfishness and greed to get what you want. Okay? Now, what's the antithesis of that basic of conflict? Well, unselfishness, or the basis for harmony. See, now we're getting back to what I'm talking about in terms of peace. I'm talking about in terms of love. I'm talking about being able to bring it down. Unselfishness is a form of peace. It is a form of love. If you're looking at some of the words that I described, by the way, unselfishness means living for others. That's my whole deal, to live for others, right? Self-control, service. This is why I wanted to create that category called being a servant. Fairness, generosity, forgiveness, humility, just being humble. Saying thank you. We talked about last week gratitude, just being grateful for every single day, everything you have. There should be a level of gratitude that comes with anything that you have. And if you live with gratitude, then again, there's a sense of peace and harmony that will consume your being, and you'll be a happy person. You know, in studying some of this stuff, I looked at, there's some common threads between people like, you know, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King. I studied Nelson Mandela. You know, these people had an inner sense of harmony simply because they were living for others. They didn't have any of those things that would cause us to be so stressed out and, you know, all of these things. I'm going to talk about stress in a second, but all of this stuff, if you don't live with peace and love, if you don't have that inward ability to calm yourself, then you're going to be stressed out, and everything that you touch has the potential to be shattered simply because there's no basis or foundation of harmony there. Okay? I hope this is making sense. And again, if it's not, please feel free to type in any questions at any point. But, you know, I'm trying to be as clear as possible in terms of articulating my thoughts. All of these are my thoughts, but I did a lot of studying, I did a lot of research, and I did a lot of, you know, just finding out what people need. And so I'm just trying to do my best to articulate to you what I feel is going to bring you closer to controlling your life. So something else that's really critical that I noticed a lot of people do, they allow their past to dictate their future. Don't let your past dictate your future, because what that will do, you know, it'll cause, again, a level of stress in your life that is physically, mentally, and spiritually detrimental to your success, whether it's past relationships. There have been people who have been in relationships. You know, I've met ladies and, you know, trying to get to know each other, and in the midst of the conversation, you know, I start to pick up on some things. I start to pick up on some things, and I'm saying to myself, hold on, sister, that's not me. I didn't do that. I didn't say that. Don't bring this baggage over here. One of the abilities that God gave me is the ability to discern. I can shake somebody's hand, tell whether or not they're a winner or a loser because of the energy they exude or they take. I can have a conversation with somebody and see within you just based on that conversation. So I can see these things. I can see how people bring their past into the future. You can't do that. You just use that as a lesson in terms of what to do or what not to do going forward, but don't let it dictate your future. Even in business, a lot of people, even in success, you know, people ask me all the time, in my network marketing business, they ask me all the time, why don't you talk to this person and that was in the business and very successful, and talk to that person that was very successful? And I'm not interested in that to pass. I'm not interested in those individuals. I'm interested in moving forward. You understand? I'm interested in what the future looks like. How can I position all of you, the people you know, the people who are instrumental in your success? How can I continue to move the pendulum forward so that you can have the kind of success that we talked about? So don't live in the past, because that's going to cause you a stressful future. And when you're talking about stress, okay, I really want to kind of drill down a little bit on the stress aspect, because, you know, so many of us deal with this on a daily basis that it becomes a part of our lives, and we just really don't, it's just something natural. I find myself sometimes when I get in the car and I start driving, and I'm just rushing. I'm in a hurry. And then I realize, Sam, why are you rushing? You got plenty of time to get where you're going. As a matter of fact, you have more than enough time. Why are you rushing? It's because I'm so conditioned to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Hurry up and do this. Hurry up and do this. Fast, fast, fast. Do this, do this, do this. We don't ever bring it down. It becomes a part of us. We have to learn how to effectively control the stress level in our lives. And that control, again, is the basis of that is peace and love. Inner peace, inner love for oneself. Question to all of you. Do you personally suffer from excessive stress? I'm going to give you some examples in a second. You know, what are some of the signs of excessive stress? What can you do to alleviate your stress. Let me just kind of give you a couple of just a little tidbits I want you to kind of internalize. Here are some common physical symptoms of stress. This is not all of them, but this is just some of them. Rapid heartbeats, headaches. Any of you ever have headaches and they just come out of the blue from nowhere? Stiff neck or tight shoulders, backache, rapid breathing, sweating a lot or even sweaty palms, upset stomach or nausea, diarrhea, trouble sleeping, weakening of the immune system. In other words, you catch colds a lot or you get sick a lot, or a weak immune system. Any of you have any of these symptoms? Well, I can tell you for myself, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, not that, 5, 6. I have about 6 of these bad boys myself. That means I'm living a stressful life. I have to be able to correct that. And again, one of the reasons I wanted to put this campaign of I Control My Life together is because it's not just for you, it's for me as well. There are a lot of things that I want to work on going into 2017, from health to stress and all these other things that we're talking about. We have to be able to bring it down. Here's the scary thing. When we look at some of these things, talking about headaches and rapid heartbeat and, backache and sweating and nausea and all these things, a lot of times we look at, what's wrong with me physically? Do I have the flu? Do I have a cold? Do I have a virus? Is it something that I ate? A lot of people look at it in so many different aspects, but rarely do people associate these particular symptoms with stress. And the sad part about it, I know all of you heard this, but stress will kill you. You're talking about combining all of these symptoms into one a little bitty word called stress that's actually controlling your life. We have to be able to eliminate these things out of our lives. Irritability, intolerance, short-tempered. How many people just go off the handle just for no reason? Exhaustion, lack of concentration, frustration over minor challenges. All of us deal with those things in different forms or fashion. My point is to kind of acknowledge those things and recognize the fact that it's not just being sick or having the flu or a virus or bug or anything of that nature. We have to be able to cope with this stress. How do we start to cope with this stress? And again, keep in mind, we're talking about peace and love, inner peace and love, bringing it down. If you want to put the Southern vernacular on it, bring it down, bring that thing down, right? How do we cope with it? Well, one thing is time management. Time management can be a huge cause for stress in so many people's lives, just mismanaging time. Try to consider figuring out how to better manage your time and your tasks. One of the things that I do, and this kind of go into number 2, which is schedule, but one of the things that I do, and I've done this for many years, is every night before I go to bed, I'll make a list of the things that I need to do the following day. I call it my to-do list, but I make a list of the things that I need to do the following day. I have a little app called OneNote, and I put all of these things in my OneNote the night before because it syncs up on all my devices. But what I do with those tasks, those things that I have to do the next day, I prioritize them from most important to least important. Okay? And so when I start my day, I start always with the most important. By the time the end of the day comes, it may be something that's, less important, picking up the dry cleaning or whatever the case may be. But you start the day out doing the meetings or conference calls or phone calls or trips or whatever it is. Most important to least important. If you start to schedule and manage your time in a similar fashion, you'll be amazed at not only how much you get done, not only the fact that you're always taking care of the most important things first, but you'll be amazed at how much free time you actually have if you prioritize those things. Prioritize your tasks. Prioritize your time. Now, for me, it's a little bit different because actually I got my hands in about 6 different companies that I own or own equity in. So I rarely have any free time. But just for the average person, the average business person, or just the average, person who's working a job, whatever the case may be, you'll be amazed at how much free time you have if you, prioritize your tasks every single day and work from the most important to the least important, and just tick those things off. Or I should say check them off. They call it ticking off in Europe. But check those things off, check those boxes off, and by the middle of the day sometime you've actually done all of your tasks, and the rest of the day is for you. That goes back to managing that stress and living that peaceful, calm life. Okay? Third thing is just taking care of yourself. We know about that. We talk about that all the time. As a matter of fact, one of our segments in the I Control My Life, we're going to talk about healthy living. But all that is just exercise, getting plenty of rest, try to eat well, try not to smoke and limit your alcohol and all this other kind of stuff. That just helps you maintain clarity of mind and that inner peace we're talking about. But taking care of yourself. For exercise, and a lot of times people look at it like a bad word, but exercise could even be just steps. They have these apps that you can put on your phone like S Health, S as in Sam, S Health, and you can just set it to monitor you walking 5,000 steps a day. Sometimes when you're going to the grocery store and you're driving, instead of trying to find the closest park, I always park a little bit further down because I have mine set for 10,000 steps a day, but I'm trying to get my 10,000 steps in. So, I'll park a little bit further down the parking lot, just a few extra steps. All of them count towards my 10,000. You can set it for 5,000. That's physically good for you. If you can't, do a lot of the traditional type exercises, at the very least, get you 5,000 or 10,000 steps in. Get you 1,000. A lot of times people don't even do that. You sit on, they call it a couch potato, but just try to do something that's going to take care of yourself and continue to, give you that sense of inner peace and love that we're talking about. Fourth thing, stop negative thoughts. This is, this is beyond me, where so many people they just wake up negative. They just wake up with bad thoughts all the time. So for a lot of people, it's easier said than done when we're talking about, stopping negative thoughts, but you have to do it. It is a skill that will be beneficial to all of you to develop, just erasing your negative thoughts. One thing that our One Voice family already know and understand it, because we talk about it, we teach about it, we train about it, is the mind. It is impossible, and I can tell you this from my medical background. It is impossible for the mind to occupy two thoughts at the same time. It is absolutely impossible. We even have done exercises to prove that it's impossible to have two thoughts at the same time. So if you have a negative thought, replace it with a positive thought. If you're depressed, it's because you want to be depressed. You know why? Because the mind can only, and I don't mean, I'm not talking about the illness of depression. I'm talking about just being depressed in terms of, woe is me. There is a certain level of depression that is a physical disease. I'm not talking about that. You can't control that. That's a chemical imbalance. But I'm talking about the woe is me depression. So if you're depressed, if you have that woe is me depressed, it's because you want to be. Because you can instantly change that by changing your thoughts. Practice that, guys. Practice that. Anytime you start to think about something negative, just try to immediately challenge yourself to replace that thought with a positive thought. Okay? Sometimes I'm looking at something on TV and, it's so much negativity and bad news and all this stuff. I just change the channel. A lot of people don't watch TV because it's all bad, but I love my TV. I got to watch my TV. That's a part of my task every day. I got to watch my TV. When I go to sleep, I'm watching me something in black and white. Andy Griffith, Leave It to Beaver, Hazel. I know some of y'all don't even know what these pictures are, but that's what calms me down, those black and white, because that's when everything was everything. You weren't worried about all this stuff we're talking about today, right? That brings me peace of mind. But also if I'm watching an Andy Griffith or Leave It to Beaver or Hazel or Love Me Some Bananas, if I'm watching those old shows, well, I don't have time to think about negative stuff or think about, foolishness that's going on because I'm in a whole other world. So you can change those thoughts. The fifth thing is to actually speak up. This helps you cope with stress, especially if you have a job or a career or things of that nature. You know, assertive communication can help you express how you feel in a thoughtful and tactful way. But what that does, it kind of, you know this, it relieves that stress. It relieves it. Get it out of your system. You know, be assertive in your communication. Speak up if something, and don't internalize those things, especially if you're in a relationship. You know, where you're married or something like that, and it's something bothering you, don't just bottle that thing up because it's going to cause stress. Talk about it to your significant other. Talk about it to your husband or your wife. Talk about it. Be assertive in your communication. It's okay to agree to disagree. Just don't go to bed mad at each other. It's okay to agree to disagree, but you got to get that stuff off of your chest. You can't internalize it because that will build up that stress, and it will take away your peace. Okay? Sixth thing is ask for help. People who have a strong network of family and friends manage stress better because they're getting help. And I don't want, maybe I should change that word from help to, consultation. It's okay to get consultation from people who may have gone through things that you're going through, or, may have some sense of knowledge about some of the things you're going through. I think I will change that word from help to consultation, because when you say help, it seems like, handout. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm saying help. I'm talking about consultation, advice, opinions. I asked a few people this past week, just what do they think I can do going into 2017 to make our company better. That's what I mean by asking for help. It's just consultation in terms of getting some other opinions or advice, whether it's family members, whether it's a network of friends, business associates, whatever. Okay, it helps eliminate or help you cope with stress. The other thing is doing something that you enjoy. Whether it's a hobby. Some people like to take a bath, and I don't mean like, everybody take a bath every day, but I'm talking about those exotic bubble baths and all that stuff that relaxes them. Maybe put some music on, or some people drink wine and all this stuff when they, doing the bath thing. Meditation is great. And a lot of people don't understand yoga or meditation, but look, let's simplify what meditation is. Just sit down and do nothing. That's all it is. Sit down, don't do nothing. No TV on, no radio on, no. Just sit down, and just bring it down. Walking relieves a lot of stress. Volunteering. What volunteering does is it actually gives you, again, that sense of peace because you're giving. There's a sense of accomplishment there. So volunteering and helping other people, that's a very good way to eliminate stress and to bring peace within your body. All of these are helpful ways to help you actually feel better and relieve stress. Listen to relaxing music. Sometimes, I deal with so many things on a high level in my life that it becomes really, really difficult sometimes for me to bring it down. I have the things that I have to deal with. These are life-altering decisions that I have to make. When you own a company, every decision that you make affects somebody, whether it's positively or negatively, but every single decision that you make affects people. I take that seriously simply because I care for people. I genuinely care for people, so I take those things seriously. If 10 people in my company have one problem, then I got 10 problems that I have to deal with, right? So sometimes it becomes extremely difficult for me to bring it down. Well, listening to music is one of the things that help me bring it down. Even when I'm going to sleep, sometimes I'll put my iPad right next to me as I'm going to sleep, and I have a channel called, what is it called? It's kind of like water flowing and, oceans. I think that's what it's called. Ocean sound. So I'm laying down, and it sounds like the water and the ocean and all of that stuff is going on. It brings me a sense of peace and relaxation so that I can go to sleep, and I'm not worrying about all the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. So listening to music is relaxing. Keep a journal. Now, I'm not a big journal person myself, but when I studied other people who have been successful and understand what a stress-free life is all about, a lot of them keep a journal. Just Try to include your dates and times, time of the year, the time of the day. Just be as thorough as you possibly can. It's, from what I understand, it's, what's the word? Is it cathartic? I think that's the word. Therapeutic, whatever you want to call it. But it helps people. It helps relax a lot of people. Again, that's not me. It doesn't work for me. The music worked for me, but a journal works for a whole lot of people. Okay. Try to exercise routine or just all of these things that we talk about in terms of keeping your journal, just documenting certain things that you're doing. It brings a sense of peace and calm to you. So last couple of things is how do you cope with this stress? Is to focus on the present. You know, I talked about this earlier in terms of not bringing the past into the future. But, you know, when you try meditation or just taking a break, not doing anything, you know, don't keep thinking back to all the mistakes and reliving all of the negative things that happened to you. We just talked about that. But don't bring that stuff into the future. You know, there's nothing you can do about it, so let it go. If you don't do anything else, if you guys are writing this down, some of you are writing, which I appreciate it. A couple of you are washing dishes, a couple of you are watching football. You know, you're not going to get the benefit of what it is that I'm talking about. But for those of you who are writing this down, first of all, I appreciate it, but you're also going to get the benefit of what we're talking about. And I want you to write on your pad right now, let it go. Just let it go. Let that stuff go and look ahead, not behind. As you see on this picture, let's focus on the here and the now. Where are we now, closing out 2016, going into 2017? That's where you want to be. And then the last thing is to laugh it up. You know, try to look for the humor in life. Try to enjoy a sense of, you know, humor in your life. Don't take yourself so seriously. Don't take the people around you so seriously. You know, don't have a cow over every little thing. Just try to enjoy certain things. You know, again, I told you I like to watch TV, and I watch me some TV, but most of the time I try to watch something that's going to make me laugh, or, you know, I don't want to think about war or see fighting and killing and all of this foolishness. I watched a movie the other day called Identity Thief with Melissa McCarthy. I mean, it just tickled me to death. It was funny, right? Laugh it up. Even if you're not I'm not a funny person. You know, all this stuff, I'm just serious all the time. But when I'm talking about bringing it down, when I'm talking about that sense of inner peace, when I'm talking about peace and love, then you want to be able to laugh. Do the things that's going to help you to laugh. Everything will pass eventually, and keeping a sense of humor will help lighten your load. So laughter really can be the best medicine possible. So just kind of laugh about it. Let's kind of keep that sense of calm, keep that sense of, frolicky nature as a part of your daily personality. So with all of that being said, guys, again, think about what we talked about tonight in terms of peace and love from an aspect of you becoming a better you. Peace and love in terms of you having that inner peace and loving yourself, living that stress-free life, being able to be a blessing to not only yourself but to other people. A lot of people get this part confused, and you've heard the phrase "my cup runneth over." What that means is being able to live in abundance. Even if whether you're talking about living in spiritual abundance, even if you're talking about physical abundance, even if you're talking about living in abundance of peace, you want your cup to run it over. So what that means is if your cup is running over, that means not only are you empowered, but there's enough for you to empower somebody else. That's what that means to me. And you want to be able to do that through peace, through love, through empowerment, through, being a servant, showing up and showing out all the time. Those are the things that you want to do, okay? So hopefully, you're able to gather some tidbits from what I said this evening on peace and love and start to live with peace and love. Start to internalize the things that we talked about in a good way in terms of living that stress-free life. We'll continue this series on this upcoming Wednesday evening with segment number 4. Once again, featuring Mr. Stanley Doucette. He's doing such a great job. He did such a great job this past week on being a servant. We certainly want to hear what he has to say this upcoming Wednesday on living with authenticity, being the authentic you. as I said during the series, I want to get other people involved. I hadn't had an opportunity to really confirm everybody. I do know some people I have confirmed for January going into the Birmingham event. But starting this Wednesday, make sure you're again, number 4 out of 10, you tune in at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to hear Mr. Doucette. He did a fabulous job this week. You want to do it again this week, Living with Authenticity. If you haven't registered, you can go to our website at onevoiceworldwide.com/events, and you can actually register for this presentation. It's free. We won't do a call next Sunday because it is Christmas. I was about to say Easter. I tell you, my mind be everywhere. But it's Christmas, so we won't do it next Sunday, but we'll resume the following week. I think that'll be the Wednesday the 28th that we'll resume this series. Please, guys, continue to invite everybody on these calls. They don't have to be a part of One Voice. They just have to want to control their lives. We want to build this call bigger and bigger and bigger every week. And as I mentioned to you last week, this 10-part series is going to culminate January the 20th and 21st in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm going to encourage every single person that's serious about controlling their lives to meet us all in Birmingham. There's going to be a group of us. And, we're all going to get together. We're going to talk about owning your own business. We're going to show you how to get that done. We're going to talk about, all the things and summarizing what it means to control your life. But coming out of that event, January 21st, we're going to make sure we have a game plan for everybody that's serious about controlling their life. What is it that we're going to do for the rest of 2017 that's going to empower us to prosper and also empower all the people around us to prosper as well? That's what we're looking for over the next few weeks. And again, culminating in Birmingham the weekend of January 20th and 21st. Get with the person that invited you on this call. Again, follow up. Just kind of go through your notes again. Talk about it. Have a conversation. What does control mean to you? Revisit what we talked about the last 2 installments of this particular series of presentations. So we're ready, guys. We're ready to take 2017 on head first. We don't have time to waste because none of us know when we will expire, so we need to take advantage of what life has to offer right now. We're going to have to make some sacrifices in 2017 in order to achieve our goals. But what I like to tell people, the sacrifice is the shortest distance between your dreams and the realization of those dreams. It's going to take some sacrifice. No one who has ever succeeded in life succeeded without sacrifice. So we want to make sure that everybody understands that, but we're working this together. We're having fun together, what we're building together, and we're all in control together. All right? So I appreciate everybody logging on. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to just double check to make sure. Yeah, I don't see any questions, so I'm assuming everything was clear with everybody. I truly appreciate everybody logging on. This is going to conclude our presentation. Let's have a record number of people on the call this Wednesday for Mr. Stanley Doucette, and then the following Wednesday, December the 28th, we'll resume again. God bless each and every one of you, and have a good evening.